Why do some people only live a few short years after turning 80, while others still walk steadily and smile joyfully at the age of 100? It's not because of good genes, it's not because of a private doctor, and it's definitely not because they got lucky. I used to think longevity was something decided by fate, until I met Margaret, a 102-year-old woman living in a small house in New Hampshire. Every morning, she brewed her own tea, read the newspaper, took a walk in her garden, and watched watercolor painting lessons on YouTube. No special diet, no expensive supplements. But she once told me something that completely changed how I look at aging. I just keep choosing what's right, day after day for many decades. If you're searching for a later life that isn't just about surviving, but truly living, then stay with me. Because in just a few minutes, I'll share with you 5 timeless lessons for longevity, each one backed by science and by real stories from people like Margaret. But before we begin, may I ask, where are you watching this video from? Please leave a comment below with the name of your city or country. And if you find this content helpful, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you won't miss the next video made just for you. 1. Stay curious and keep learning. At 90 years old, Walter still studies French every day. Not for travel, not for a degree. He simply says, "I study it because it sounds beautiful, and because learning makes me feel alive." Many people think learning is for the young, but science and people like Walter show us otherwise. Our brains can keep growing, even at 80 or 90, if we just keep using them. Take Ruth from Ohio. She enrolled in college at age 94. 4 years later, she stood in her cap and gown, surrounded by classmates 70 years younger. Her story became a global symbol of lifelong learning. Why does this matter so much? Because the brain is the foundation of a strong old age. When we stop being curious, the brain begins to slow down. And when the brain stops, we slowly lose who we are. Neurological studies have shown that people who read, learn new skills, or have conversations with others who think differently tend to age more gracefully. They maintain memory, reduce the risk of depression, and may even delay Alzheimer's. And no, learning doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a classroom or textbooks. Sometimes it's as simple as doing a crossword, trying a new recipe, or joining an art class at the community center. Your brain doesn't need something big, just something new. So ask yourself, what have I always been curious about but never tried? Maybe it's learning the ukulele, maybe it's watercolor, or reading that one book you've always meant to. Age doesn't stop curiosity. Only we do. If you still feel that sense of wonder, please leave a comment below with the number 1 to say, "I'm still curious." Because even if your steps are slower, your mind can still travel far. Staying curious doesn't just help you live longer. It helps you live deeper, with something to look forward to every single day. Now, let's move on to the next timeless key to long life, one that almost everyone forgets. Movement, even just a little, every day. 2. Keep your body moving. Raymond, 86, lives alone in a small house on the edge of Oregon. Every morning, he puts on his cap, his jacket, and takes a walk beneath the trees behind his home. "I call it my daily chat with my legs," he says with a smile. One day, his son asked, "Dad, are you walking so much just to lose weight?" Raymond chuckled, still stepping forward. "No," he said. "I walk so I won't need a wheelchair when my granddaughter graduates." That one sentence speaks louder than any medical advice, because it reveals a truth we often overlook. When the body stops moving, aging speeds up. You might have heard of Lucille, who lived to be 122. But did you know she rode her bicycle every day until she turned 100? Not to train, but to stay alive. Or think about the shepherds of Sardinia, one of the world's longest living communities. They don't go to the gym. They simply walk hills, garden, and move naturally throughout the day. Modern science agrees. Just 30 minutes of light movement each day improves blood flow, memory, blood sugar, bone strength, and yes, lifespan. And no, you don't have to run a marathon. You just have to keep going. Walk around your house, dance to an old favorite tune, do some gardening, try gentle yoga, swim slowly, even cleaning counts. Your body is like a machine. Let it sit too long, it rusts, but keep it moving, even just a little, and age loses its grip. So have you walked today? If not, take a few steps around the room right now. Then come back and leave a comment with the number 2 to say, I'm on the move. Don't wait until your legs feel heavy or until your back starts to tighten. Start small, and tomorrow you'll feel just a little stronger than today. Flexibility, strength, confidence. They don't come from being young. They come from moving every single day. Next, we'll explore a secret to long life that few talk about, but it might just be the most powerful medicine of all. Friendship. 3. Stay socially connected. Helen just turned 90. What she looks forward to the most each week isn't a doctor's appointment or a trip to the store. It's Saturday afternoon tea with her group of lifelong friends who've been together for over 60 years. They call themselves the Joyful Sisters, a radiant group of women with silver hair. Some walk with canes, some use wheelchairs, but not one of them ever misses a tea. They tell stories about their grandchildren, revisit old memories, and laugh at jokes no one else would understand. One afternoon, Helen quietly said, "If it weren't for these ladies, I don't think I would have made it through last winter." And she wasn't exaggerating. Loneliness is a quiet disease. It doesn't strike with sudden pain. It creeps in through long, empty days. When no one checks in, when no one needs you, when there's no simple message asking, "How are you today?" A 75-year-long study from Harvard found that the quality of your relationships in midlife is the strongest predictor of health and happiness in old age. People with deep social ties live up to 50% longer than those who are isolated. In Okinawa, Japan, home to some of the world's longest living people, there's a tradition called moai. It's a small, close-knit group of friends who share meals, joy, hardship, and care for one another through all stages of life. When one gets sick, the group steps in. When one passes away, they grieve together. No one is left behind. So what about you? Do you have your own moai? If not, that's okay. It's never too late to reconnect. Start small. Call an old friend, join a class, visit a senior center, or simply leave a comment under this video. One real friendship is worth more than 100 casual acquaintances. And sometimes, one honest message can be the beginning of something beautiful. If this resonates with you, please leave a comment with the number 3 to say, "I don't want to be lonely." Because no matter your age, your soul still longs to be heard, to be needed, to be loved. Not just to live longer, but to live warmer. And now, we move on to a lesson just as important. How eating with intention can keep your body and spirit full of life. Foyer. Eat with intention. George, now 92, has lived alone since his wife passed more than a decade ago. But every morning he wakes up at 6, boils water for green tea, slices a few apples, and prepares a quiet breakfast with oatmeal, walnuts, and a few slices of avocado. When someone asked, "Do you eat this way to live longer?" George smiled, eyes twinkling behind thick glasses. "No, I eat to feel a little younger every day." It might sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful decisions you can make for healthy aging. Because as we grow older, our bodies become more sensitive to what we eat. Each meal doesn't just affect the stomach. It impacts the heart, the brain, the joints, even our mood. You don't have to look far for proof. Just take a look at the blue zones. Places like Ikaria in Greece, Nicoya in Costa Rica, or Okinawa in Japan, where people live long, active lives. They don't follow extreme diets. They simply eat naturally and mindfully. No fast food, no refined sugar, no rushed meals. They fill their plates with vegetables, beans, healthy fats like olive oil, fruits, whole grains, and small portions of fish. They eat less but better, and they stop when they feel about 80% full. A practice the Okinawans call hara hachi bu. Medical research confirms that diets rich in antioxidants and fiber help reduce inflammation, preserve muscle, stabilize blood pressure, and lower the risk of cognitive decline. And no, you don't have to give up everything you love. You just need to start small. Swap sugary drinks for water. Add leafy greens to every meal. Choose fish over red meat. Cook at home more often. Every meal is a chance to support your strength and vitality. If you've ever eaten out of habit, out of boredom, or because you think, at this age, it doesn't matter, please remember, your future is still being shaped by what you eat today. If you believe that, please leave a comment with the number 4 to say, I choose to eat for good health, because food is more than fuel. It's how we show care and respect to the body that's carried us through a lifetime. Now, let's move forward to the final lesson. One that may seem small, but could be the very reason you wake up with purpose each morning. 5. Live with purpose. After retiring, Albert, a former history teacher, lived quietly in a small wooden cabin among the pine trees of Vermont. Each day, he would sit by the window, watching the trees sway in the wind, wondering what he was still here for. That winter, he received a letter from his granddaughter, a school teacher in Florida. She wrote, "Grandpa, I'm teaching my students about World War II, but I can't tell the stories the way you used to tell them to me. Could you write them a few lines to help them understand?" Albert began writing letters to that class. Little stories, vivid memories. Each week, the students sent thank you notes, asked questions, and waited eagerly for what Grandpa Albert would write next. From that day on, Albert didn't wake up out of habit. He woke up with a reason. He lived 11 more years, healthy and sharp, until the age of 91. You see, purpose is the strongest invisible medicine. You can't buy it, but once you find it, it helps you overcome pain, loneliness, and even the hardest days. A study published in The Lancet found that seniors with a clear sense of purpose were less likely to suffer from depression, had a lower risk of Alzheimer's, and experienced a much higher quality of life. And having a purpose doesn't mean you have to change the world. It can be as simple as growing flowers, writing down your story, watching the grandkids, teaching someone a skill, or becoming a better version of yourself, day by day. Ask yourself, what am I living for today? If you have the answer, congratulations. You've already found the key to living longer and living better. Write it down, hang it on your wall, share it with someone you love. And if you've already found your reason or are still searching for it, please leave a comment with the number 8 to say, I'm living with purpose, because age does not limit your ability to give. As long as your heart still wants to offer something, you are alive, not just existing. And if you're still here watching this video, I believe you're someone who refuses to let old age be the final chapter. You're someone ready to make it the most meaningful one yet. Now, let's gently recap the 5 lessons we've learned and take one more step toward a life that's not only longer, but richer. Conclusion. If you're still watching, then congratulations. You've just taken another step on the path to living longer and living more meaningfully. Together, we've explored 5 lessons. They're not magic tricks. They're not quick fixes. They're small, simple choices made again and again that create a healthy, mindful, and joyful old age. Let's gently recall. 1. Stay curious and keep learning, because your brain needs exercise, just like your muscles. 2. Move your body every day, not to win trophies, but so your legs and heart keep walking with you. 3. Stay connected with others, because loneliness is a silent illness, while friendship is free medicine. 4. Eat with intention, because food is not just a meal, it's a life or death decision made 3 times a day. And 5. Live with purpose, because when your heart knows why it's alive, your body will find the strength to keep going. Now, I invite you to choose the one lesson that speaks to you most, and start today. If it's learning, read a page. If it's movement, take a short walk. If it's connection, call a friend. If it's nutrition, cook a gentle, nourishing meal. If it's purpose, write down what matters to you. And don't forget to comment with the number of the lesson you're starting with. I'd love to know where your journey begins. If this video touched you, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We'll keep creating videos like this with warmth, truth, and care, just for you. Because growing old is not the end. It's the most beautiful, most refined chapter of life. If you know how to live it,